Hi, welcome to Breaking Ground. I'm your host, Roger Monder. Today we're going to look at two operations that are not normally associated with agriculture in this province. Our first profile piece will take us to Cox's Cove, where one of the biggest and newest mink farms in the province can be found. Bill Barry, known for his involvement in the fishery, has seen a great opportunity in the rearing of mink. This industry has experienced unheard of expansion in this province. Danish fur farmers have also seen the benefits of operating in Newfoundland and have invested a lot of time and money to make it work. Another area in Newfoundland where opportunity knows no bounds is the bee industry. Both Andrea Skinner and Paige Marchand have been involved with beekeeping for a long time, but felt they had to take their knowledge to another level. The result of that other level is a beautiful 3-story building that they had built in Little Rapids. Bees make honey and beeswax, and also a successful business that will include a tea room, processing facilities, and tourist attractions. Monique Tobin will speak with Government Representative Brian Goldsworthy. Brian will address the advantages that local producers have over outside competitors, but he will also point out where farmers need to look to improve their chances for more sales. Believe me, you'll be missing a great show if you change that channel. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Fur farming in this province has taken a noticeable upswing in recent years. Let's have a closer look.
Harvesting animals for their pelts is a human activity that dates back thousands of years. The annual seal hunt is one example, and the development of domesticated fur breeding farms is another. In Cox's Cove on the west coast of the island is one such operation. It is a mink farm, and here the rearing of over 26,000 mink is taking place. Daphne Boudreau has 2 degrees from an agricultural college, but found she had to learn a lot from scratch.
Just learning about the mink itself and how it reacted, the different things on a day-to-day that the mink went through, how they ate, how they dealt with the cold in Newfoundland was a situation that that you can't read in books. Just the day-to-day activities that you can't read about, that you have to go through on your own. The cages, different style of cages that you learn what works for you and what doesn't work for you, what works in your environment, your shed styles. All those things are new things that we had to learn from scratch. Mink is a different species altogether. Their breeding and their furring cycle is completely controlled by the different amount of natural light that they receive. If you trigger that off in any way by the addition of light, you can completely take away their natural breeding cycle or their furring cycle. The reason why we have skylights are so that they perceive the light through their eyes to help them have their natural breeding cycle, and furring cycle will happen naturally. As the days get longer, as the days start to get longer in March, the mink go into their heat cycle, and they only go into their heat cycle once a year, which is usually around the 1st of March to the 21st of March. And for their furring cycle, as the days get shorter, they will start losing their summer fur and start getting their winter fur. And usually by the beginning of December, their fur is fully prime and ready for market at that point.
Obviously, the health of over 26,000 animals is a big concern. The quick detection of any kind of disease is imperative, so basic health checks are done by staff.
A lot of the health issues that we have with these animals, we treat on our own. We have veterinarians that usually come out for a usual check. They issue out certain antibiotics that, for the outbreaks that we have on the farm, they will issue out certain antibiotics that would help them out on the farm. And we have a health check that we do every second day. We go around and look for any sick animals and inject them with injectable antibiotics at that time.
The Barry Group's involvement in the fishery and the ownership of the fish plant in Cox's Cove also plays a significant role in providing feed for the mink operation.
Most of our feed products actually comes from the local fish plant here in Cox's Cove. All the offal that they produce gets put into the mink feed, and it's a recipe which consists mostly of offal. There's also chicken and a cereal, and we also put in seal oil for extra fat in the diet. I consult with a feed consultant in Minnesota actually, and we work together on making the ration for the proper time of the year for the animals. And we make our feed ourselves down at the local fish plant, and we just take it up here to the farm. We do check it every month. We send a feed sample over to the local lab here in Newfoundland, and we get it checked out there for the amount of protein, the amount of fat, the amount of ash, and how much moisture there is in the product, to see if we're at the right level of protein and fat in the diet.
Even though the operation is only half built, it is still quite a large enterprise. With the construction of 6 more barns, you can see that there is a design reason for the layout.
We have 6 barns here on this side of the land, and we have 2 units. Each unit contains one breeder barn consisting of approximately 2,500 cages, and beside that breeder barn we have 2 pelter barns where we will grow our mink. The breeder barn consists of where we will breed our mink as well as where they will whelp their babies. And the pelter barns are where we grow our kits for the summer and part of the fall. Right now we have 16 workers that work on the farm itself. Most of them are full-time or part-time. We also have a crew that comes in and makes cages and nest boxes for us since we are in the middle of construction. We have approximately 10 working for that, and we also have a construction crew working building our barns.
Fur farming in Newfoundland is a natural fit. Superior feed is readily available, and there is a lot of space to develop and expand.
Big time thinking leads to big time projects. When we come back, we'll be heading off to the West Coast to watch another enterprise expand and hopefully take off. Beekeeping in this province has a low profile, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be more well known. And here's why.
The art of beekeeping goes back to Egyptian times and is nowadays an endeavor that is practiced all over the world. It is no less so in the West Coast community of Little Rapids, where Paige Marchant and Andrea Skinner are developing a business based on the production of honey. But the foundation of all business is made up of many parts, and in this case Andrea's father Wally was a major inspiration for this initiative.
Our neighbors really, once they discovered, that we had it, they were always interested in purchasing, so I'd sell a little bit in the neighborhood, and then I'd get another piece of equipment, and same thing the next year, so I bought an extractor, and then I bought another piece of equipment, and so on and so forth. So I in that way, I just sold it locally. Knowing that the bee forage was here in Newfoundland in certain areas, knowing that Newfoundland imported all of its honey and didn't produce any, I did think that there was a small business or a business to be made in Newfoundland from bees.
But Andrea and Paige decided to take a leap of faith themselves and turn a hobby into a business. Here they talk of everyday activities and concerns they have when tending one of over 150 bee colonies.
Today we're looking just to check the state of the colony, make sure that each colony has a queen heading into the winter, because as the fall gets farther along, she's harder and harder to find because the less eggs she lays, the smaller she gets, and she can get through the little gadget called the queen excluder. She can get up into the honey, and we're planning to take this honey, so we don't want to take her accidentally or block her out from the bottom. So we're just looking to make sure everybody's got a queen and happy.
Yeah, that's the smoker. It does a couple of things actually. Bees communicate by scent, so it disguises a lot of their scent mechanisms when you're in working around. If somebody, say, lets off an alarm pheromone, an alarm smell, we don't want everybody to catch on to that, and we don't want the bees to get aggressive, so we smoke them. Well, this stuff is going to head for the new building in Little Rapids. We've already brought one big load down from this particular yard, but this stuff will come off now in a few days once the bees are down out of the upper boxes, and it'll get trucked to Little Rapids and go into the hot room.
This building holds the hot room. It also holds the dreams and aspirations for their new business. Both Paige and Andrea gave me a tour of their as yet unfinished premises. So what's the idea of this room? Now you walk in the front door, what do you plan to have here?
This room here is going to be where we're going to sell all our products, because we do make other products other than the honey. We make lip balms and creams. So this will be our outlet for those products. So hopefully people will come in and you'll catch them right off before they've headed on to look and see how things are working.
You know, a lot of people come up to us and say, where does honey come from? We make honey with sugar syrup and we throw in some flower petals. So we thought, you know, really show them how honey is made and how we process it, and right to the bottle, right from the flower to the bottle and into the shop. We thought it'd be really good to include people.
I think it's a great idea. Perfect, right? Now we got a couple more stories. Why don't we go upstairs and have a look at the second floor?
Sounds good.
Great.
Come on up.
So this room here is going to be, we're hoping will be a tea room. And what we're thinking is that a tea room may, you know, you'll use your honey products, make things with honey, and it'd be a nice way to get repeat customers where things are always changing. Because once you've seen some of the static displays, you may not be encouraged to come back. So we're hoping this will get people coming back in.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lovely view here too, right?
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful view, and we want people to come up and be social and learn all about honey and
what's going on in the neighborhood.
what's
and that
going
kind of
on
stuff,
up and down the valley. And
yeah. Well, people like doing that. Tea rooms are becoming more and more popular all the time with good reason, right?
Yeah.
And this is a perfect setup. So you're thinking of all the angles. It's just not sort of producing the honey.
That's
and
right.
the
We're
bees.
trying to keep our options open and you know, get involved in a little bit of everything, not only the bees, but maybe a little tea room business on the side. And
yeah. So what do we have in this room here, Paige?
This room is going to be our room for making all our equipment and storage and whatever needs to be done. Because all our equipment, as you can see, comes unassembled, unpainted, and so we buy them by the piece. And what we do up here is we would put these together. We would paint them and then assemble them, and then they would go out on the colonies. So all the different parts that we have, this is the front of a brood chamber box. So we would have to nail them and glue them, and so we need an area that we could do that in without being in the public eye for doing that.
Sure. Well, everything is nice and fresh in here, and you got these boxes to work on, and the paint is almost still kind of wet. It must be exciting to be at this stage, the same, you know, it's the dreaming stage too, right?
Oh, it's really exciting.
very exciting and scary.
And scary, but more exciting than scary. So
Yeah, we're really looking forward to hopefully hiring a couple people and providing a little bit of employment. It's sort of sad to see so many people going the other way, and hopefully we can keep a couple people around and expand. And
very good. Well, it's great looking around this new building. It's sort of a sign of dreams and excitement, and I'm sure problems down the road, but you're all up for it, I presume.
Oh, we are.
yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Very good.
We're going to give it our all and see what happens.
Very good. Well, good luck to both of you.
Great, thank
Thanks.
you.
When you're having your next cup of tea, why not try honey instead of sugar? You'd be a lot better off. We'll be right back. Now we have Monique Tobin speaking with Federal Government Representative Brian Goldsworthy. He will talk about local advantages and the role of marketing in provincial agriculture.
Brian, you've worked in market and trade development for a number of years with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. From your perspective, what is happening in the marketplace and what does that mean for local producers?
Well, it's a very competitive marketplace, there's no question about that. Profit margins are squeezed on both the retail level and on the producer level as well, and at the farm level. There's some real challenges there, I think, to keep production costs in line. On the retail side, suppliers are trying to find ways of improving their supply capacity, their ability to bring food to the consumer at lower prices, and this is raising some challenges also for producers.
So let's talk about that a little bit. In remaining competitive, what are local producers having to deal with in keeping costs low to be able to afford to?
Well, they have to constantly be looking for ways of reducing their production costs. The name of the game these days is high volume supply to the major retailers. Retailers are looking for suppliers who can meet a large part of their particular requirements on a regional and a national level. There's pressure for them to keep their prices down. So in order to be engaged in that market, farmers themselves need to find better ways of doing business and more cost-effective ways. And in terms of meeting their volume requirement, there's also a need for, I think, more cooperation and collaboration on the farm side to be able to satisfy the needs of the retail sector.
So what are some of the things that you see farmers doing to try and remain competitive and be able to face some of those challenges?
Well, again, I think one of the keys is collaboration and finding new ways of doing business, keeping the lines of communications open with their customers, and also looking for, I guess, efficiencies in on the production side as well. The adoption of new technologies, keeping ahead of the technology game. Our farmers in Newfoundland, I think, have been early adopters when it comes to technology. We do have some of the most efficient farm operations, no question about it, in the country. Just to give you an example of the dairy industry, for example, we're using computerized feeding systems in their barns, really before they were common, before the personal computer was commonly used in the household. So the industry seems to be doing fairly well on that side. And it's largely a question, I think, of finding ways to engage better in the supply side in the marketplace.
How does shipping costs play a factor for producers here?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword. The cost of shipping farm inputs into the province adds to cost, no doubt about that. But it also represents an opportunity, I think, for farmers, because the one thing that our local industry is good at is being able to supply a fresh product to the market. They're able to get a product to the market, whether we're talking eggs or milk or poultry products or vegetables. They're able to get the products to the market a lot quicker, a lot sooner than, and in a lot better condition than if it's being shipped from California or Mexico or other parts of North America. So that's, I think, where the industry has a bit of an advantage in terms of being able to compete.
So Brian, from your experience, what kinds of consumer trends do you see that exist now that are impacting farmers and will continue to impact farmers in the next few years?
Well, there's a lot of things going on in the marketplace in terms of consumer preferences and consumer trends. Consumers are more concerned, I think, today about the quality and the nutritional value of the food that they are purchasing. They're looking at the labels. They're starting to read the labels. They're trying to avoid foods that are high in fats and cholesterol. They're questioning the levels of sugar and salts and other additives in their foods. And a lot of it is driven, I think, by health concerns and their desire to, I guess, manage their health a little better. So they're looking for healthier food products. They still want convenience, and they don't seem to be prepared to spend as much time in the kitchen preparing food products as before. So they want it all, really. They want convenience, they want low price, they want good value, and they want good nutrition. And that's the trend that we're seeing. I think for the local industry, that's a good trend because along with those, I guess, concerns about nutrition and the potential health benefits of some food products, there seems to be a desire also to source food more locally. There's greater trust in local food production, purchasing food that's produced locally. So I think that bodes well for an industry that's geared largely to the fresh market and putting top quality products on the store shelves.
When we talk about export markets, where do you see the potential lies for Newfoundland and Labrador agricultural producers?
We do some exports, and mainly in the area of beverages, for example, and we are more recently shipping frozen cranberries to Europe. It's, as I say, it's primarily oriented towards the local industry, but there's a large, the local consumer market, but there's a large market in North America for our products, and there's an interest on the Atlantic level in terms of collaborating with other suppliers to meet some of the requirements of the retail sector and some of the import opportunities that are out there.
Brian, thank you very much.
And thank you. It was a pleasure.
Well, we'd really like to thank Brian for coming on the show. On the final show of this season, we're going to have a look at the farm and roadside market of George Greening in Musgrave Town. After a considerable investment, George has opened up a completely new market which devotes itself mainly to the selling of his organically raised beef. Customers come from miles around to stock up on his high-quality products. Bruce Simmons is a West Coast dairy farmer and an egg producer. Both enterprises are large, well-managed operations which boast of a consumer base that stretches from Port aux Basques to St. Anthony. Not only is the accent on a top-quality product, but new and self-sufficient means are used to keep feeding costs low by providing high-energy protein to the cows. We'll also visit the hog farmer Ross Smith out on the West Coast. Ross is only one of 2 bona fide pig farmers left on the island. The pig industry in this province has been decimated, but Ross has survived with determination and a firm belief in the great product he sells by direct marketing. Monique Tobin will be back with special guest Davis Knoll of Country Ribbon. Mr. Knoll will give us an overview of the operation which is just outside St. John's. No small venture, this operation has expanded its primary production to include secondary processing and exports to the mainland markets. Be sure to tune in next week for the final show of the season. I'm your host, Roger Monder, and we'll see you then.